All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. The world powers remain engaged in one of the biggest crises to have hit the East and the West. That is Russia and the US-led alliance in several decades. Now, the American President Joe Biden, in fact, spoke with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and both leaders have urged Russia to take some real steps to try and diffuse tensions as Russia continues with its build-up of forces along Ukraine's border. A German government spokesperson has said that the two leaders had agreed that the threat of a further military Russian aggression actually remains pretty imminent and that the situation is extremely serious. Both leaders also renewed their warning that any military escalation by Moscow could invite some serious consequences. And these comments came after Olaf Scholz telephoned Joe Biden to brief the then American president on his face-to-face talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. And both leaders also welcomed Vladimir Putin's statement that diplomatic efforts should continue. Now, Olaf Scholz and Biden also agreed that it was important to move towards the implementation of the 2015 Minsk peace agreement negotiated by Russia, Ukraine, France and Germany. And they also agreed on the importance of the Normandy format, a grouping of envoys from the four nations that have met periodically since 2015 after Russia invaded into and also annexed Crimea. And WION's correspondent Susan Tehrani has been tracking this story very closely for us and has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
A telephone conversation between U.S. President Joe Biden and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz came after the two leaders had conversations with their Ukrainian and Russian counterparts. The two men reaffirmed their commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and according to the White House, underscored the importance of continued transatlantic coordination on diplomacy and deterrence measures and the reinforcement of NATO's eastern flank. The message is, of course, meant to signal NATO's commitment in holding a united front against any form of Russian aggression or intimidation, especially in a conversation with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, as the United States tries to downplay any kind of policy rift when it comes to dealing with Moscow. And despite Russia's continued denial after that call, a German government spokesman said that the two men agreed that the issue of Ukraine must be assessed, quote, with extreme seriousness, and there is still a risk of a Russian attack against Ukraine. Meanwhile, Western officials say that Russia is continuing its military buildup on the Ukrainian border. This is despite the fact that Russia claims that it has pulled back its troops and even released footage that it was departing some of its troops and armored vehicles from Crimea. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION. World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.